Ukrainians recaptured 2 crucial territories in the south. Approximately almost 500 Russians got ambushed and they retreated, and then 32,000 Wagner soldiers, they already left Ukraine. But more about all of this in just a couple of minutes. What's up, investors? It's the Russian Dude, and this is my new schedule. I will be uploading videos at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Friday, which is basically 12 hours earlier than before. And let's get straight to the point and talk about some ridiculous Russian propaganda. So in this first picture we can see an advertisement for Russian men to join the army, and the slogan is "Proof that you're a real man." And then probably in the very same bus we can see a potential candidate of a Russian real man maybe going towards enlistment office. And so right now just let me know in the comments if you consider yourself as a real man according to Russian standards, and whether you are ready to join Putin's war. And I hope most of you said no to this questionable proposal, so in this case can you please like this video and subscribe to my channel to join the Russian Dude army instead of Putin's one. You can also follow me on Instagram, because I did like seeing you guys' profiles, and I will continue to follow some of you back. The link is down below. But okay, now let's quickly talk about the Western support to Ukraine, then I'll give you an update from the east of Ukraine and 32,000 Wagner soldiers leaving the country, and then we'll talk about the south and Ukrainians liberating 2 crucial territories. And first of all, right here is the Ukrainian missile complex called Hrim-2, which is almost completed. Right now it's in research and development stage, and as soon as it is done, it will be able to launch missiles up to 500 kilometers. Next we have the country of Israel, which is negotiating the sale of 200 of its tanks Merkava to Poland and possibly to Ukraine. And just think about this, how much of a game changer it can be in case this happens. Next we have Germany, which mentioned that it pledged 2 demining tanks called Vicent-1 to Ukraine in help of their upcoming counteroffensive. And our next picture comes to us somewhere from Zaporozhye front lines, where, as you can see, Ukrainians are using already armored vehicles called Bradley by Americans pretty much every single day. Next country is Portugal, which mentioned that it is pledging its drones Tekeva to Ukraine. And speaking about aerial vehicles, American Defense Corporation Lockheed Martin mentioned that it will be training Ukrainian pilots how to use F-16 planes in case NATO decides to send these planes to Ukraine. And ultimately, already approximately a total of 45 fighter jets have been already pledged to Ukraine, which includes MiGs and Sus. And in case Ukrainians will be successfully using these fighter jets, and just overall the Western military support will be productive, the European Union promised to accelerate future deliveries of Western military support to Ukraine. But okay, and now it's promised, let's briefly talk about the situation in the east of Ukraine, but first of all we just have to make a stop in the capital of Russia, Moscow, where recently a central mechanical factory spontaneously got caught on fire. As we move a little bit more to the south, to another Russian region called Bryansk, bordering with Ukraine, a military hospital also got spontaneously caught on fire. And then, speaking about one last Russian city, Belgorod, there was some very loud noises as reported by the locals. Most likely Russians intercepted a Ukrainian missile and the debris fell in this area. But in return, Russians continued to attack residential areas in Ukraine, such as for example right here you can see partially destroyed residential building in Sumy. And just overall, in the last couple of days Ukrainians were able to intercept a total of 12 different Russian drones and then the entire 2 helicopters Ka-52. And speaking about Russian missiles, apparently approximately 81% of foreign components found in those missiles are made in America, such as for example these missiles are actively using American chips produced by AMD, Intel or Texas Instruments. As we go towards east of Ukraine, according to the report by the Institute for the Study of War, Russians conducted a limited offensive to the north of Swatovi and then then to the south of Crimea with absolutely no success, and then both countries reported their offensive around Bakhmut, with Ukrainians being a little bit more successful. We even have this video of Ukrainian special forces called Sonichko, which is pushing Russians and engaging them in extremely close combat. Unfortunately, as you would imagine, YouTube does not allow me to show the entire video. That is why I uploaded the full version on my Patreon. The link is down below, and there's still 1 week of free access. And as a result of this counteroffensive, Ukrainians were able to advance even closer to Klishchiivka, as you can see from this map, and then at the same time they were able to advance a little bit closer to Orikhovo-Vasilievka. And just overall, Ukrainians were able to destroy 3 control points of Russians, 2 concentration of their forces, 5 ammunition warehouses, and 3 artillery units. But the most important news of the recent days is that according to leader of Wagner, Yevgeny Prigozhin, at this point 32,000 Wagner soldiers already left Ukraine because their contracts already expired. Which, if you think about it, just approximately 1 month ago there were reports that the total number of Wagner soldiers left in Ukraine was approximately 40,000. 32 of them already returned back home, so pretty much now, as you can see, very few of these soldiers are now left in Ukraine. And if you remember, this was the only military unit of Russians which was successful in Ukraine. And now they're basically non-existent. Alright, and now let me give you a brief update from the south of Ukraine, and then we'll talk about Ukrainians liberating 2 crucial territories in Zaporozhye front lines. But first of all, our first stop brings us to Crimean Peninsula, where Russian infiltrator in Simferopol, whenever he was driving his car, it spontaneously ignited, and pretty much he was injured, to say the least. And speaking about Crimea, as you can see from these satellite images, Russians intensified building fortifications next to the border with Kherson region. Our next stop brings us to Mykolaiv, where unfortunately, as a result of Kakhovka Dam incident a couple of weeks ago, the water right now is extremely contaminated, but fortunately the water is receding, and in this video you can see one of the bridges which is now liberated from water. The situation is also getting a little bit better overall in Kherson region, with the average water levels being approximately only 70 centimeters, but water is also extremely contaminated. That is why the local authorities are asking not to take shower with this water, and especially not to drink it. But then we have a very good news from Ukrainian side, which mentioned that they were able to destroy a very big ammunition warehouse of Russians located in Rykove. And then we even have these satellite images which confirm that this ammunition warehouse is now completely destroyed. But the Russian army, unfortunately, is also achieving some kind of success in the southern front lines. For example, they are able to damage or even destroy Ukrainian military vehicles using drones. But rest assured, at this very moment it is estimated that only around 4% of Western military vehicles that Ukraine received is now completely destroyed, because Ukrainians, they take care of those military vehicles which are damaged. They bring them behind the front lines and repair them, and so pretty much they will be using them in the future as well. But just think about it, the counteroffensive is big, it does happen across multiple front lines. That is why such losses are inevitable, because if Ukrainians will be advancing and not losing any single tank or armored personnel carrier, this will be just an absolute miracle. And like you would imagine, Ukrainians do advance in the south. For example, one of the most recent liberations was this small village called Pitikhatki. We even have this video of Ukrainians advancing closer to the city and liberating it. The full video is as always on my Patreon, the link is down below. But what is even more important is that a lot of Russian soldiers, they retreated from Pitikhatki, mostly to Vasilievka, and it is estimated that Ukrainians were able to ambush approximately 4 entire companies, which is approximately 496 Russian soldiers, even before they started retreating. And this was the first crucial territory that Ukrainians were able to liberate, because later on they liberated another one, located to the south of Novodanilivka, as you can see from this map, represented by this blue zone. And most importantly, this territory is geographically a little bit higher than those settlements to the south, such as Robotine, Solotka, Balka, and also including Tokmak. Because I mean, just take a look right here. If Ukrainians continue to push and they will be able to liberate Tokmak, the city which has been mentioned several times in my many different previous episodes, then they will be also pushing towards Vasilievka, which is another major city located on intersection of these roads. And as soon as both of these Ukrainian armies they join their forces, the next major city on their way to the south will be Melitopol. And if you are a long-time viewer of this channel, you already probably know that Melitopol is called by some people as the key to Crimea, because a lot of Russian forces go in and out of this peninsula and they just have to stop in Melitopol or at least pass it. That is why if Ukrainians they take advantage and capture this city, Crimea will be potentially separated from the rest of occupied territories. But wait, there is more, because Ukrainian artillery was able to destroy a big concentration of Russian forces along with their T-80 modern tank located in Verbove, and then another Ukrainian artillery unit destroyed a large ammunition warehouse of Russians located in Priyutne. And just overall, in the last couple of days, Ukrainians were able to penetrate Russian forces as deep as 7 kilometers, and the total amount of liberated territories at this very moment is estimated to be at 113 square kilometers. The counteroffensive slowly but surely is going. Ukrainians are probing Russian defenses, trying to look for weak spots, and as soon as they find it, they will increase their pressure against this specific location. And as soon as it happens, it is my honest expectation that Ukrainian counteroffensive will be extremely fast, and a lot of territories will be liberated in just a couple of days, just like it happened in Kharkiv and Kherson last year. And if you don't want to miss it, just please subscribe to my channel. It only takes one click. The absolutely best way to support my work is through my Patreon. You can also become my channel member or simply use the PayPal link. Guys, be careful, there are scammers in the comments pretending to be me. Thank you so much and see you tomorrow.